My leaders and my champions, I hope you had a blessed day. Welcome to Live with Chatufa. Thank you so much for joining us, as always, on this show, as we are always looking into issues that are happening in our nation, around our neighbors, as well as all over the world. Remember, we are still praying and believing God for change in Southern Africa and all these other countries that have suffered under dictatorships and rogue governments. Namibia decides today as a voter turnout on the rise, tilting towards change. And this has been a very, very exciting day for voting. Although there were issues here and there about delays in the voting process, not sure really what was happening. The many polling stations actually were reporting that the voter turnout was quite very disappointing. I mean, the speed by which people were voting was actually very disappointing. That while the turnout of voters was quite very good compared to even the last election, according to reports. So what we are looking at is a situation where the Namibian people really have decided that they really want to come out on this election, particularly because this is a do or die election that they really need to have their voice heard out there. And of course, the Liberation Party, SWAPO, also just on the brink of collapse because this could be their very last survivor. If they survive this one, the better. If they fail to survive this one, it's going to be very, very difficult for most of these parties to have a comeback again in the future, because more and more young people are entering into the political field and they are taking over, and it's going to be very, very exciting. So voting started today, and this is a week that we are expecting great news really coming out from Namibia. And the Namibian reports that Itula votes Independent Patriots for Change President Panduleni Itula cast his vote at Mandume Primary School in Ishandumbala, Windhoek, on Wednesday morning. Right. So this is the video of him also casting his vote there.
The first time, isn't it? Oops. Go. And then this one as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Everyone happy? Thank you very much. Oops. This one doesn't want to go in. Okay. There you go. Okay. I'm on my way. Done.
So there it is. There it is. He has cast his vote there in the presence of officials and, of course, other members that are of his party. And quite very exciting. The turnout was quite good from the beginning. And despite, of course, the issue that I've been also talking about of the process and how the process was quite very disappointing in terms of its speed. Sophie Mkwena also reported on the progress that was happening in Namibia today. So you can see the queues meandering and going and going and going, a sign that really the citizens were fully mobilized, and we are just hoping to see the best for the Namibian people. As always, as the Zimbabwean people, we are praying with them, praying with the Mozambican people, of course, and all the others that are fighting the same battles that we are fighting, of removing these corrupt governments of the liberation parties. And we have seen many of them there. I saw also some of the officials, in fact, of the ANC. They were also there in Namibia. I heard them also talking. I saw some videos of them speaking about their unity, its liberation parties, and the like and the like. But you could tell that from the way that they were speaking, the momentum is just dying down. They are seeing that their survival as liberation parties really in Southern Africa is really hanging on the rope because people are no longer trusting them. They've been given enough rope, but they failed to utilize the chances they had. Instead, the chances that they were given, they started to use those chances in making themselves rich and wanting to call themselves bosses over the very same people that elected them into office. They forgot that there's delivery that is needed, and the people expect delivery. And once the country continues in stagnation for a very long time, the young people, because of social media today, are able to see what is happening in other countries, developments in other countries, and then they would start to ask, what's wrong with our own country? Why is it that in country A and country B, people are able to do this and that? People are living their life to the fullest, and yet in our own context, things are not happening. And that is the situation that we see happening with the countries, especially that are run by these liberation parties. And the younger generation now is coming back, fighting back so hard, wanting to see the back of these parties. And some of them, like ZANU-PF now, end up becoming very brutal and rogue and start to arrest people, to beat up people, abduct and kill people. But is this going to help them? It's never going to help them. At the end of the day, there is nothing that lasts forever. There is always a time for all things. So their time also has expired. Their time is up. And no matter how much they might try to use their brutal force to hold on to power, something is going to give. There is no way that they will continue to succeed. So our prayers are that Zimbabwe must be free, and Zimbabwe will be free, because the season of change is here. The season of change is now. We are also believing that Mozambique is going to come up with some good results coming out of there. And of course, you have heard about Nyusi, that Felipe Nyusi had to flee his presidential palace for fear of his life, because the mass demonstration are becoming much hotter and hotter in Maputo and in other towns, also in other areas. So Mozambican people are not budging, they are not giving up, they are fighting until victory is certain. And we are saying this must continue in all these countries that need freedom, because we have tried to communicate in democratic ways, telling these governments that they need to leave power and hand over to some new people, some new administration. But they seem to be drunk on power, and they think that they have a right to hold on at any cost. But this is the fight we are fighting, and as intercessors also praying for Zimbabwe and praying for our beloved brothers and sisters in other neighboring countries. Otherwise, this is what is happening, family. Very, very exciting. And thank you so much, of course, for joining me on this show. We will continue to be giving you shows around the very same times, just to make sure that those that are at work or those that are late sleepers, they can also be having some other entertainment and, of course, some other news and prayers too during the late hours of the day. Otherwise, remain blessed, and thank you so much for joining me. Till we meet again in the upcoming show. Shalom.